Hello guys, welcome back to this course for SAP application and database high availability using SUSE cluster. In this slide, we are going to summarize the previous slides that we have learned so far, and why I'm repeating this so that you can connect all the dots, like what is high availability and what is SLA, how it is achieved, how the higher SLAs, let's say the 99.9% SLA is achieved using application and database high availability. So far we have learned only application cluster, so I'm going to discuss only about that so far. So how you achieve it using application cluster, and what is the architecture of it. I'm going to just summarize summarize the architecture again, and how these all things are connected. So let's start. Here you see your SAP system under your clustered environment is somewhat going to look like this. Here you see the node 1, SAP node 1, SAP node 2. It is hosting ASCS services, and SAP node 2 is hosting ERS services. We also talked what are the cluster resource group. In the resource group we have three things: file system, virtual IP, and your SAP instance. So whenever some takeover happens, these three things as a group moves to the next node, the other node. We have these shared mount points, which comes from the shared disk. For ERS it is USR SAP SID ERS, and for ASCS it is USR SAP SID ASCS instance number. This should be ASCS. Okay, so this is the shared file system. Shared file system, here it means the NFS file systems. So what are the NFS file systems for your SAP ABAP system? SAP MNT, USR SAP Trans, SAP SID sys. For the cluster system, this file system also has to be your NFS. Alright, so how this thing is relevant from high availability? In the first slide we learnt what is high availability. It is nothing but providing the redundancy at different services or different layer. So to achieve higher SLA is so high availability. When we talk in terms of SAP services, we have ASCS, which contains central services, your message service, your gateway service, your NQ service. Also, ERS comes into the picture when you implement application cluster. It is the NQ replication server, but this is not the core SAP service. So apart from these services, we have ICM, we have web dispatcher, we have dispatcher, and the work processes, gateway, etc. So when we talk about high availability with the 99.9% SLA, you have to make sure each service is having the redundancy. How we get the redundancy for message service? By implementing the SAP node, or let's say the HA node. We have two nodes, one for ASCS, other one is for ERS. Whenever something goes wrong with ASCS, it moves to the next node along with these three entries, and it starts here without impacting anything to the production system, or without impacting the system availability, let's say. Also, to to provide a seamless impact to the user, so that whatever work they are doing, whatever log entries that are maintained, the changes that they have done to specific tables, to avoid any loss of data, we maintain this log entries in the ERS services at separate node. So whenever failover happen of ASCS services, your logs are maintained ERS, which can be picked up here. So users do not see any impact of the outage at node 1. So it seems seamless. So the remaining services get the high availability from you will be having certain different instance, let's say the PAS, your AAS. So this will be having these services, ICM, dispatcher, work process, etc. So these services can be redundant from these nodes, and we got the redundancy for these services using SUSE cluster. So that's what is mentioned here. ASCS and ERS instances are installed with virtual host name so that it can be floated between two nodes to achieve high availability. So that says the core of the so far course. That's how it can be summarized. Thank you.